Joined by Stanley Vargas and head coach Joe Cain of Boston English. Stanley, 300-plus yards on the offensive side. You flew all over the field defensively. You only have 27 guys on this roster. Puts a lot of pressure not only to stay healthy, but to keep the energy up. How do you do that? You seem to be the vocal leader. You also seem to be the physical leader on this team. Never look tired out there despite playing every single down.
Well, that starts off with coach and practice, making us run every day. Just go hard in practice.
You got into the overtime session. They brought everyone out, wanted to make sure. You said you wanted the ball first. Conventional, it says defense. What does that say about your mentality in terms of having so much confidence, not only in yourself, but in this entire offense, your offensive line?
Our team, we had the momentum going off from the fourth quarter. So coach said, we got the momentum, so let's stay with the ball. So we chose to stay with the ball.
You went down 14-0 in that first half. In the back of your mind, were you ever worried that this game was going to get away? You got those 14 points back. Your connection with Rashawn Charles really seemed to spark the team. What is it between the two of you that really works?
Reps in practice.
Well, I look forward to seeing you in practice next week. A great game from Stanley Vargas on both sides of the ball. Bring in head coach Joe Cain. Coach, you moved to 2-1 in your first season as the head coach. A tough one. You went down 14-0, came back, kept pushing towards getting that touchdown, finally went into overtime. How proud are you of your group? You were outnumbered 2-1 in terms of the physical players, but you guys seem to keep the energy level really high throughout the game.
Yeah, I couldn't be more proud of these guys. They're just a great group of young guys, and obviously hats off to Latin Academy. We know every time we play them, it's just going to be a battle. And their coaching staff is phenomenal, and their players are nothing but class. So we love playing a team like that because we know it's going to bring the best out of us, the best of our players, hopefully bring the best out of them. As far as these guys are concerned, you mentioned the 27 players and the depth and that being an issue, and people always ask, what are you going to do with the low numbers? And you can't really measure the size of a guy's heart, and that's what these guys have. So I couldn't be more proud of them. They came together today. They came together this week in practice. Stan said it. It's about reps. You look at a guy like Stan, he's wearing #1 for the quarterback, but he's the first guy at practice, last guy to leave, and bringing in equipment. So you saw that leadership on the field. It carries over in practice, and that's what we work for. And Coach Lamb, I mean, he's a phenomenal coach, and he's working these guys all day, and they're staying after practice. I said my biggest problem is getting these guys to go home and get their homework done, so that's a good problem for a coach to have.
Coach, one last question. You talk about Stan and all the intangibles. As a vocal leader, Mateo had that offensive holding where you guys had just scored to take the lead, and while everyone else is celebrating, Stanley goes over it and sort of coaches Mateo up. How much of a leader has he become this season, just in his ability to do everything on both sides of the ball?
Yeah, well, I think Stan doing that in the game is sort of it's part of other guys doing that also in practice. I mean, it looks like he's the only guy doing it because he's the guy you see out there. But our offensive linemen are doing it for offensive linemen every play. Mateo is a great leader himself and tries to do the same for other guys. So I would say Stan's probably the guy you notice, but I feel like, especially our offensive linemen, they do that all around. And we lost a guy, Cyril Blair, to an injury tonight. He's an example of a guy that's going two ways, playing every play, every special teams, and so these guys all do it for each other, I guess is the best way to say that.
Coach, you showed up an hour late, but it was certainly worth the wait. Yeah. A big 20-14 overtime victory. Thanks so much for your time.
We had to deliver. Thanks a lot.
Guys, 2014, Boston English moves to 2-1 in the first season under Joe Cain.